Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Alright, so let's set the record straight. So in today's video, you're going to hear directly from a Latina woman who boldly spoke the truth. A truth too many people in her community know, but few are willing to admit. In her own words, she said this: the African American community is the only community that truly holds the power to change anything in this country, the United States, of course. I don't want to spoil this part for you guys. I want you to watch it for yourself. I've carefully put these clips together for a reason, so you can fully understand the bigger picture. The first clip shows this Latina woman acknowledging what so many refuse to say out loud. Following these clips, and this is where you really need to pay your attention, because they review exactly why so many Black Americans have chosen to sit this one out. And when you put all these pieces together, you finally understand why the Black community holds the influence to make or break any movement in this country, and why this time they've chosen to hold back. Let's not forget, November 5th was the last real chance to make peace with Black Americans, and that chance was blown. Don't take my word for it. This exposure is coming straight from a Latina voice, not mine, not any other Black person. So make sure you watch this video until the very end. I promise you it's going to make sense. And drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'm gonna come back at the end of this video to give my own 2 cents. Let's watch this.
African American community is the only community that has the power in this country to change anything. They are the only one with the experience of civil matter. They are the only one que tenían el esclavo ahí mismitico. They are the only one that are not going to get deported anywhere, and you cannot put them all in jail. So African American community, which is the community that is stepped on by Cubans, the most are the only ones that are going to save the Latinos. And I clap for the African American community that has not come out. Because it is not. I do. We didn't do shit for them.
I get it, but I don't.
Me and you support, but in masses, we didn't support anything that was going with them. Latinos look at Cubans specifically. I'm not gonna talk about any other community because I'm not part of that community, even though I'm a Latina with them. Cubans talk shit about African Americans. Cubans did not support African Americans. Cubans think that they all victimize themselves, of this, all of that. African Americans are the only ones that are going to save your asses, Latinos. So you better start kissing. If you're going to kiss some ass in this country, you better kiss some black ass.
Houston Community College is facing a $100 million lawsuit. Hundreds of African American employees, both past and present, say they faced racial discrimination while working at HCC. Channel 2's Roseanne Aragon is live tonight with a closer look at what this new lawsuit claims. Roseanne?
This lawsuit was intentionally filed today. The plaintiff tells us she represents many. Houston Community College slapped with a $100 million racial discrimination lawsuit filed on none other than the Juneteenth holiday. At the center of the case is Zelia Brown, a former employee who says she and others have been racially targeted by HCC leadership. The suit also reveals an email chain from Chancellor Cesar Maldonado, which states now we Hispanics are going to receive preferential treatment.
This is a pattern. That's something that is methodically and deliberately done to ostracize that individual.
The suit names Maldonado, HR Director Janet May, and Board of Trustees member Adriana Thomas, claiming they worked intentionally on a, quote, well-developed, systematic, entrenched, and wildly successful campaign of race and sex discrimination against top-level Black employees, stating that 90% of the longtime Black professionals at HCC have either been terminated or demoted, while there has been a 50% increase in Hispanic hires and promotions.
Whether it is demoting them by pay, placing them in a lower level position, creating schemes.
Brown says it happened to her. In 2016, she was hired to advise on grant use and compliance. In 2018, when she found what she believes was a clear pattern of misused funds and spoke up.
Every avenue that I would go down, they would present an obstacle.
But the lawsuit cites other alleged tactics, including padding Black employee personnel files with false complaints. For Brown,
they just immediately placed me on administrative leave.
In March, she resigned, and
there have been dozens, as I've said, that have come forward.
HCC says they have not been served yet, so at this hour, they do not have a response. For now, Roseanne Aragon, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Roseanne,
y'all hear about how those Hispanics treated Black people at Ryder's Logistics? It was horrible. They made they created 2 different production lines, one for Hispanics, where the Hispanics was doing all the easy work, and then another production line for the black people where they did all the hard labor. And then on top of that, they made the black people work 16-hour shifts. They wouldn't give them breaks. Matter of fact, they were really derogatory, telling them, oh, you're big and black, you don't deserve a break, you could work through it. And then this black woman, she told her testimony how they used to call her ancient mama and the N-word in Spanish. And she reported it to her supervisors, but her supervisors were also Hispanic. And you know what they told that black lady? Oh, that's their culture. Oh, it's your culture to be racist, anti-black. They treated all the black people there horribly, right? Even the black man, they called them silverback gorillas and was waving bananas at them. Like, and nobody did anything about this. Because mind you, the supervisors are also Hispanic. It's our culture. The white man had to step in and hit him with that lawsuit. Look it up. Riders Logistics lawsuit, Southern California.
The black workers also were doing the heaviest or the hard manual labor, heavy lifting, and the non-black workers were doing the lights, easy work, light work. We were working these long hours and sweating, and the supervisors wouldn't let the black workers get water or take bathroom breaks. We had to wait. They said, you're big and black, you can keep working.
Shut up, ape, before I put you in H. That's what a Latino employee told a black employee for trying to de-escalate a situation. Shut up, ape, before I put you in a cage. And then he goes on to tell him, hey, I don't care if you report me. My family owns this Chick-fil-A. This happened at Chick-fil-A in Idaho Falls, and the family that the employees talking about, the Latino employees talking about, is the Ibarra family. They're very affluent in the restaurant industry, and at this particular Chick-fil-A, Eric Ibarra was the manager and his son worked with him. They will go on and create a hostile work environment for Thomas Wade. 7 months of hostility and racial slurs. It will say things like, of course he works at Chick-fil-A. He's black and he loves chicken. They even called him that one racist word that they fight to use daily on this app. And it just didn't stop with racial slurs. They promoted a new white employee over him into a leadership role. Mind you, Thomas was there longer than him. Thomas reported these incidents 20 to 30 times, and that Chick-fil-A ended up firing him. Of course, he hit them with a lawsuit, but it just makes you wonder, a family like the Ibarra family, who's affluent in the restaurant industry, how many more cases is like this that they're trying to cut?
Would you believe it? In Southern California, Los Angeles County specifically, that Mexicans cleanse their neighborhoods of black people. These Mexican gangs intentionally target black Americans that didn't have anything to do with gangbanging. But they wanted them gone, removed out of their neighborhoods. And they had a curfew, 10 p.m. If they weren't in by 10 p.m., yeah. This is not the South. This is not down in Mississippi. This is Southern California, Los Angeles County. These Mexicans, I call them the brown Yahtzees. You see this 10 p.m. in Pacoima. These areas were predominantly black neighborhoods. So the neighborhoods that you see that's with Mexicans now in Southern California, yeah, that was paid. And that price was black blood. They terrorized these black families to move out of their neighborhoods. Look, they firebombed a black family's home just because they were black, not because they were gang members, just because they're black. And you see that HG13, that 13 stands for M. That's the Mexican mafia, and they have strong ties with the Aryan Brotherhoods. And if you don't know what the Aryan Brotherhood is, that's a supremacist gang. And their member goes on to famous high school football player Mark Hammonds. As he walked down the street in Highland Park, the Avenue gang staged a long-running campaign to rid that neighborhood of blacks. And these campaigns of cleansing black people from Mexican neighborhoods went on for decades. And mind you, these neighborhoods were once upon a time black neighborhoods.
This Latina LAPD officer said, if you want to hurt black Americans, hit them in the livers. Hit them in the liver. They got weak livers. Mind you, this is LAPD. And then she goes on with some more racial stereotypes, saying that black people drink grape soda and they eat watermelon in between basketball games. The audacity of this Latina with all the fruit stands that's throughout Southern California, especially LA. And these fruit stands are operated by undocumented Hispanics. They got watermelon heavy in those fruit stands. They have an additional 90 recordings they retrieved with more racial comments like this, even calling black people. For some strange reason, Hispanics are obsessed with calling black people Chongas, monks. And to top it all off, they had an Asian sergeant that tried to cover up for them, Denny Jong. Over 50% of LA law enforcement is Hispanics, and not to mention they have deputy gangs, Hispanic deputy gangs that target Black Americans. There should be a deep dive investigation.
Why are Latinos asking Black people to join them in the protest? But last month, Black people asked Latinos to stop saying the N-word because Black people find it disrespectful when Latinos say the N-word, and Latinos were so offended that they started disrespecting the Black community. And I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but I want to say something. If you've been following me for a while or have gone through my videos recently, you see that I'm constantly pushing for unity between communities. Majority of the Black people in the comments are stating how they get a lot of disrespect from the Latinos, and majority of the Latinos in my comments are actually really disrespectful to the Black community. And I've been pushing for unity because these protests are not where we're going to unite. There's something bigger to come where we need that unity. And something that I've been noticing during these protests is a lot of Latinos are asking the Black community for help. And when the Black community states how they don't want to, or they don't feel like they should, Latinos are disrespecting them with racial slurs. There's a video circulating on the internet where a Latina is yelling the N-word in a very derogatory form to a Black police officer. How is that helping our cause when we're asking the Black community to join us? There's videos on the internet where the comment section is full of hate from Latinos to Black people because the Black community doesn't want to join us on the protest. And while sure, I agree that this is everybody's fight, Latinos, we need to take responsibility and acknowledge the fact that this is our fault. I find it very ghetto and disrespectful for us to be saying the N-word. I find it very disrespectful for us to be even saying the M word, that stands for Beatles in Spanish. And while I am going to have a lot of people in the comments saying that this is all politics and about the Latinos for Trump BS, this has nothing to do with politics because it is before Trump took office. We were put against each other back in the 1970s and the 1980s. And we're a product of that now because it was our parents that were put against one another. Why? Must I remind you that back in the 1960s when we were all united, we actually got things done, like the Civil Rights Act movement. Latinos tend to forget that Black people, the Black community, were out protesting for field worker rights, immigration rights with us. And the Black community tends to forget that there were Latinos marching with Martin Luther King Jr. down to the point that we do have a statue for MLK in Mexico because MLK was a huge impact in the Latino community. And while I do not agree with Cesar Chavez and the stuff that he did to the immigrants in the United States, Cesar Chavez, amongst many other Latinos, were marching with MLK. Black Panthers were protecting Mexicans, while Black Panthers also helped start the Brown Berets. We have a lot of history together, and this is why divided we stay conquered, because together we get things done. So no, I'm not asking the Black community to come out and march with us, to protest with us, because this is something small compared to whatever is about to come. I'm asking the Latino and the Black community to take accountability for whatever we have going on and start asking yourselves, why have we been put against each other? And why have some of us actually gone along with the way that they want us against each other? Why is there hate amongst each other when we've done nothing but unite in the past and get things done? Where does this hate come from? I've had my fair share of experiences with racist people in the past, but those people do not define the communities that they come from for me. There's always going to be racists within each community. So to my fellow Latinos, we've needed unity for a long time from other communities, and now we're reaping the consequences of us being hateful towards other communities. We even have hate within ourselves. And until we take accountability and change that, no one's going to come out to our rescue. Food for thought.
African American community is the only community that has the power in this country to
Still don't believe we're the main characters. Still don't believe Black Americans are the real children of Israel, the real Jews from the same tribe as Jesus Christ. Still don't believe that the Black American man is about to, MAM is about to rule forever as joint heirs with Jesus Christ. They know time is up. When have they ever talked like this? Some of them, I feel like, are doing things like this and openly admitting stuff because it's their way of like trying to make amends and like basically save them and their families' asses, because they are well aware that the BLACK American man, because this is a patriarchy, is that our Black American women are going to be right with us as our queen, but this is a patriarchy, okay? So they are well aware that the BLACK American MAN is the only one that can save them. They are aware. Since when have they ever spoken like this? They don't. They haven't. Never. Everybody's been. And I saw a sister girl throwing up her allegiance. You know, they try to say this is okay. Yeah, okay. Just sell that to the sleep. You know, but they're well aware the shift is here. They're well aware. They're well aware, right? A lot of them got to take things up with the Most High. Gotta take it up with the Most High, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because you don't know who's sincere, who's not sincere. You don't know who's trying to come in at the last minute after doing BS all this time, right? But the Most High knows. Our angels know. Our mother knows. You know what I'm saying? Who's sincere and who's not sincere. You know what I'm saying? But since when have they ever... The main characters, literally, still don't believe Black Americans are the number one PPL on earth? The proof is in the pudding. Praise the Most High, I can see. I am extremely woke. Extremely woke. With that penal gland third, whatever the Most High did to my ass, your brother is extremely woke. And I can only thank the heavens for that. I can only thank the Father for that. I can only thank the Holy Spirit, our mother, for that. And it takes one to know one. I see other brothers and sisters on here who are extremely, extremely woke. Notable mentions: Brother Big Judah, right? Brother Moriel, Brother Sly, and Brother Big Levi. That's who I go listen to, right? So, yeah, extremely woke. Most I don't need a lot of people to. He don't. Most High do not need a lot of people to do what he needs to do. All praise to the Most High.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So after watching all of this, I have to be honest with you guys, I'm more convinced than ever that a real lasting peace between the Black American community and the Hispanic, or more specifically the Latina community, might never truly happen. Not because some haven't tried, but because the majority clearly don't want to make things right. And the proof is right there in the very clips we've just watched, and in so many other examples that have popped up on my timeline over and over again. Here and there you'll find a few Latina women like the one in the first clip who seem to get it, who understand the power, influence, and the role the Black community holds in shaping our protest movements and real change in this country, meaning the US, of course. She gets it. She said it plainly. The African American community is the only community that holds the power to change anything in America, and that's the truth. No sugarcoating it. But the sad reality is this: as much as a handful of Latinas like her are trying to bridge that gap and build peace, the overwhelming majority are not interested. They are not willing. In fact, if we're being real, a lot of them just flat out don't like Black folks. They don't respect Black people, and that's not my opinion. That's what the behavior, the words, and the actions continue to show. I once came across a story which really, I think it disturbed me somehow, about an Hispanic woman who was literally disowned by her own family simply because she fell in love with a Black man. They cut her off. You may ask why. It's because she didn't want to have a darker grandchild. Children. Can you imagine that? In this day and age, people still carry that mindset. And this isn't a made-up tale. I'm telling you, these are real situations being shared by real people. And before I go any further, I have to make this crystal clear. This channel does not, and I repeat, does not promote hate. We do not encourage bullying or of any kind. Everything shared here is for educational purposes only. I am not here to attack or put anyone down. I am simply connecting the dots, laying out the facts, and giving my thoughts based on the evidence that's out there. So please understand that. No hate here, just truth. Now, with that claimer out of my way, let's get back to the real talk. Where did all this tension even start? Where did the root of this dislike, or dare I say, hatred towards Black Americans in parts of the Hispanic community even come from? I'll be honest, I think I'm going to have to dive deep into the rabbit hole, on one of these days, because there's clearly a long history, maybe generations of misunderstanding, jealousy, biases, maybe even colonial brainwashing that's never been dealt with properly. But wherever it came from, one thing is for sure, it's causing damage right now, like real damage. And look where the situation has led. Right when the Hispanic community, especially the Latina community, needs the help, the support, the strength, and the unity of Black Americans the most, they've lost it. And why? because too many have burned that bridge one too many times, and black people are tired, exhausted, disrespected. You cannot expect help from those you've ignored, insulted, and mistreated. Take the first step we watched. For example, the Latina woman was speaking truth that needed to be heard, but she's a rare voice, a minority in her own community, because as good as refreshing as that clip was to hear, the very next clip painted the full ugly picture. I'm talking about all kinds of things, and at this point I hate to say it, but they can kiss us all they want. It's not going to change anything. I'm responding to the first clip of the woman who said Latinas, Hispanics, they need to start kiss. The damage is done. Time's up. That olive branch they could have extended to make things right. That chance they had to repair trust and rebuild respect, it passed probably on November 5th, and black Americans chose to sit this one out because enough is enough. And I think those are just my 2 cents, my honest thoughts after connecting the dots and seeing this play out. But what do you think about this, my viewers? I really want to hear your thoughts, your opinions, your feelings, your take on this whole situation. Are you surprised? I think I am surprised because I keep learning new things as an African. Yeah, and I know you saw this coming. Let's talk about this in the comment section down below. I always read what you guys say. I value your input because it helps shape the discussions that we have on this channel. So don't be shy. Drop your thoughts respectfully, of course, and let's have this discussion. And as always, please stay peaceful. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and turn on that notification bell so that every time I upload such new videos, you'll be notified. I'll definitely see you in my next video.